This is your Barbados Today morning news update for Tuesday, June the 12th. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. Opposition leader Bishop Joseph Atherley is expected to reply this morning to yesterday's $1.2 billion adjustment budget plan delivered in the House of Assembly by Prime Minister and Minister of Finance Mia Mottley. But already other stakeholders have been having their say. Chairman of the Private Sector Association of Barbados, Charles Herbert, supports the budget, except where government will be asking tourists to bear some of the financial burden in restoring economic growth here.
By and large, certainly the Private Sector Association is supportive of the budget. We are encouraged by the level of consultation and input that we were allowed to have into the budget. We believe that it is only the first step in turning around the economy. But like the Prime Minister said, it is only phase one. And as a phase one, we think it makes a good start. If there's any concern that we have, it is that the budget transferred quite a bit of the burden for revenue on the tourists coming to Barbados. We don't think that this is going to reduce our arrivals, but that certainly is the riskiest aspect of the budget.
And President of the Congress of Trade Unions and Staff Associations of Barbados, Cedric Murrell, says the measures will diminish the 5% salary and wage increases for public workers, announced yesterday by the Prime Minister in her presentation.
With regard to the salary raise, yes, we are indeed pleased that the government can find a way to be able to reward public officers. We do know that the measures will have an impact on the diminution of that salary raise. But at this stage, we are also happy that we were consulted extensively and the picture painted with regard to where the country stood economically. Once we were very clear on that, then we would have to accept that measures had to be put in place.
An interim chairman of the Association of Public Transport Operators, Morris Lee, says the sector remains unclear about those budgetary proposals which impact it, such as the abolition of the road tax and its replacement with a fuel tax.
A careful analysis has to be done of the budgetary proposal as it relates to the sector, because there are some items that need clarification. On the surface of it, it appears as though it may significantly increase the cost of doing business, but that being said, we are more than willing to work with the new ministers, the Prime Minister, the Minister of Transport, to get any questionable matters resolved.
In other news now, following the announcement by Governor General Dame Sandra Mason that she intended to appoint this island's Deputy High Commissioner to London, Althea Wiggins, as a senator, details have emerged of an ugly incident 2 years ago in which Wiggins was accused of cursing her boss in the full view of other members of staff at the London-based High Commission. Barbados Today has obtained a copy of the incident report as well as the detailed letter which was dispatched by High Commissioner Guy Hewitt to then Prime Minister Frendel Stewart and Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Maxine McLean. In the report, Wiggins was accused of behaving in an unprofessional, disrespectful and undignified manner in the presence of junior staff following a staff meeting on February 8, 2016.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Welcome back with news from the region now. Good news for people needing cancer treatment, as the first linear accelerator facility in the Eastern Caribbean is coming to Trinidad. Minister of Health Terence Dale Singh says the public sector will benefit financially.
We estimate we currently spend to the private sector about $51,520 per patient to be treated at the private sector, at an average cost of $25,760,000.
And on the international scene, U.S. President Donald Trump is today opening an historic summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, aimed at concluding a real deal to end a nuclear standoff on the Korean Peninsula. While Trump was optimistic about prospects for the first ever meeting of sitting U.S. and North Korean leaders, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo injected a note of caution, saying it remained to be seen if Kim was sincere about his willingness to denuclearize.
In a televised announcement Monday evening, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said things were going smoothly. The big question remains whether Washington will be able to get Pyongyang to completely denuclearize. Asked whether the U.S. would be willing to evacuate its troops from the Korean Peninsula in return, Pompeo responded simply,
"We're prepared to take what will be security assurances that are different, unique."
Trump and Kim are expected to spend as much as 2 hours together before being joined by their respective teams. It's all a far cry from last year when Trump threatened North Korea with fire and fury and mocked Kim as a little rocket man.
And that's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We are also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic day.